I can't believe it. It feels like I've been waiting for the Jupiter airdrop since my allocation for like a year, and tomorrow is finally the day. So tomorrow, the Jupiter airdrop's happening at 10 a.m. EST. I can say that I probably haven't been this excited for something in a really long time. Probably gonna lose some sleep tonight and excitement for this tomorrow. But this is it, guys. I'm sure everybody already knows what's happening with the Jupiter airdrop. So Jupiter, biggest aggregator on Solana for making swaps. Basically, if you've ever used Solana, you've probably used Jupiter to swap between tokens. And if you used it, I think before November, then you'd be eligible for this airdrop. But if you aren't, I have a lot of buddies that I've gotten into Solana in the past few months and they're not eligible. This video is for you guys and for people who got the airdrop too. But I'm going to be showing you guys 5 really good ways to capitalize on this Jupiter airdrop that's happening tomorrow. There's going to be a ton of liquidity. There's going to be a ton of volatility on Solana with anticipation in this. People selling it, people now having all this new liquidity and putting it in elsewhere. Overall, there's just going to be a ton of liquidity, which is going to make a ton of opportunities for tomorrow. So I'm going to be talking about all of those in this video. So if we go to the link from Meow's tweet, it takes you to the Jupiter Launchpad, and you can see this is where you'll be able to claim your JUP. This is where you'll be able to buy JUP before the launch. And you can see at the time making this video, we're just 16 hours away from the launch. So really crazy. If you have an allocation, you'll be able to see it right here. And then if we scroll down, this is the first opportunity. So me personally, I do have a decent allocation for Jupiter. Full transparency, it's like just under 3,000 on the 2 accounts that I'm eligible. But even with that being the case, I still want to get as much exposure to it as possible. So I am placing some limit orders with this feature here on the Launchpad. So you can DCA and limit order right now. You can set them, which will activate as soon as the launch happens. So for me personally, I just put some USDC in there and it'll buy Jupiter around 50 cents. I believe how it works is you'll get basically anywhere from 40 cents to 70 cents on your allocation. If you get any, I think it's all circumstantial, like how many people are buying it, things like that. So this isn't a guarantee, but I'm doing the best I can, trying to get as much exposure as possible. So I put a little bit of money in here to buy JUP at about 50 cents with the limit order. So if we scroll down a little bit more, you can see these are a lot of the opportunities we're going to be talking about on this video. So you can check these out for yourself, providing liquidity, lending, and there's some arbitrage opportunities we're going to talk about as well. So the first one is on Meteora. It's a AMM liquidity pool sort of website, and they work hand in hand with Jupiter. I think it's actually made by the same people. It's got like the same domain, meteora.ag, just like Jup's, jup.ag. Anyways, there's going to be a liquidity pool on Meteora. There's going to be liquidity pools for Jupiter on a bunch of websites like Radium and Orca as well. The reason that I'm going with Meteora is because they're starting a stimulus package in alignment with the Jupiter airdrop. So they wrote this article about it not too long ago. I'll put the link in the description if you want to read up on it a bit more. But they propose that 10% of the MET token, so they're dropping a Meteora token, it's not out yet, it's going to be allocated to liquidity providers before the token goes liquid. So they announced this a little while ago, and they announced even more recently, you can see it on the JUP website, that there's a stimulus package that's going to start on the 31st of January, so that's tomorrow. It's actually going to start at midnight, so a little bit earlier before the Jupiter airdrop. So what you can do is you can provide liquidity on JUP USDC or JUP Sol, and you'll obviously earn a good amount on swap fees because there's going to be so many people swapping their JUP to USDC or their JUP to Sol. So if you're providing liquidity on that, you'll be getting a percentage of all those fees generated from the swaps. Obviously, there's a lot of risk involved, impermanent loss, divergence loss. It all depends on how you provide the liquidity. Definitely read up on how liquidity pools work. I would suggest reading the Uniswap docs. That kind of gives you an idea of the whole foundation of providing liquidity and liquidity pools. So read up on that, and then read up a little bit more on how Meteora works as well, especially if you're going to use the DLMMs as opposed to just the regular pools. But it is something, again, that's risky. Look into the risks of it. I'm not huge on LPing and stuff. It's definitely not my main source of income with crypto. It's something I do the least. So definitely do your due diligence. Look into it. I think it's a good idea to get exposure to the Meteora stimulus that's coming out. Okay, so the next way to capitalize on this is on Zeta and Drift, more specifically Zeta. So if you haven't already seen my full video talking about the Zeta and Drift airdrop, definitely check that out. I'll put a little card for that up here. But you can see Zeta is going to have JUP-PERP listed immediately as well as Drift. And Zeta is going to have 3 times score for a limited time if you trade Zeta. So on Zeta, we've been farming, it's called Z-Score. Basically, it's the point system that's going to show your eligibility for the airdrop that they're doing within the coming months. And every so often when there's a new token that comes out, they did one for BTC, they did one for Celestia. When you trade that token, you get 2 times as much points as you would normally. And they've announced that Jupiter is going to be 3x the amount of points, which is even better. But it'll probably only last for a day or two. So I'd say if you are farming the Zeta airdrop, 100% buy the JUP-PERPs. And same thing with Drift. They haven't announced anything about there being extra points for trading JUP, but they are doing an airdrop within the next 3 months. They have a point system, so it'll just give you more access to those points. If you don't want the risk of holding Jupiter and getting exposure to all that price fluctuation, I have a strategy that I talk about in my airdrop video, which allows you to get the exposure to the points that you earn by holding Jupiter on Zeta, but without taking the risk of the price fluctuations. It's called a delta neutral strategy. It's super simple to do. Pretty much just consists of longing and shorting an asset at the same time. If you want some more explanation on it, just go check out that video. It's pretty short. So the other way to capitalize is on lending protocols. So MarginFi and Camino, you'll be able to deposit JUP as soon as it launches. They talk about this on the website. So you'll be able to borrow against your Jupiter airdrop immediately on MarginFi, and Camino is promising that you'll be able to earn some automated yield off your JUP immediately by lending. So I would say if you're not currently farming these airdrops, I would probably just stick some of mine in Camino if you want to earn that extra yield. If there isn't any yield on MarginFi and you aren't farming the airdrop, I probably wouldn't even put it in there. And I'd be really careful with borrowing against your JUP because the price is going to be so volatile when it first launches. So that price fluctuation is really risky in terms of getting liquidated. If you borrow a good amount against your JUP, there could be some crazy price fluctuations that could get you liquidated. So be careful about that. I would probably wait a couple days to start borrowing against the JUP. Same thing for Camino. I wouldn't be borrowing against it at all, but it's probably worth it to deposit some JUP in here just so you can get a bit of a yield on it. If it's anything like the Solana USDC yield, 5-10%, can't go wrong with that, especially if you're just going to be holding it anyways. So the final opportunity is centralized exchange arbitrages. So I don't see too many people talking about this on Twitter as opposed to all the other strategies, which I'm really surprised about. But basically what a centralized exchange arbitrage is typically when there's a new token listed and there's tons of volatility, there will be a slight price difference on different exchanges, which can allow you to make money off of that price difference. So say, for example, Jupiter is trading at 80 cents on Bybit and then it's trading at 90 cents on KuCoin. You can simply just buy the Jupiter at Bybit and then send it to KuCoin and then sell it for that 10% arbitrage. So that's just an example, but I'm going to be looking out for these on the different exchanges. This guy made a really nice tweet talking about a lot of the different spots that Jupiter is going to be available on. You can see it's going to be available on Bybit, Bitfinex, Gate.io, HTX, KuCoin. So these are all really big exchanges that if they get listed on tomorrow, there is a good chance there will be some arbitrage opportunities. So I'll be looking out for that. Tonight, I actually don't have accounts on most of these exchanges. A lot of them aren't even available in Canada. So I'll be checking them out tonight, making some accounts and getting ready for tomorrow. If you guys want to see more content by me and if you want to see some of the plays that I'm making early before I post about them on YouTube, check out my Discord server that I just dropped. It's currently free. It's going to be free for the first month. I'm going to be doing weekly Zoom lectures every Sunday so we can talk about all the plays that we're making. You guys can ask me questions. We can reflect. I'll talk about trading principles, my macro outlook on crypto, all kinds of cool stuff every Sunday. As well as, like I was saying, I'm going to be dropping plays early on the Discord. Every day or so I'm posting stuff in the announcements chat, talking about what plays I'm making and how you can make them as well. You guys can see way earlier today I dropped a huge post talking about everything I'm talking about here, and it was hours before this video came out, so you would have had an opportunity to get into some of these early. And I'm working on just building a community in there, having a lot of people, bringing people in the community together who want to learn about crypto and want to learn with each other. So it's free right now. It's going to be free for the first month. So if you guys want to hop on board early, check out the link in the description. But anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end. I hope I see you guys in my Discord. We can shoot the shit, talk about some crypto plays, and just learn, grow together.